Good evening. You're flying with Pod Squadron podcast. All wings report in, and this is Andy, Pod Job, standing by.
This is Tracy, Pod Tracer, standing by.
This is Lexi, Podmay, standing by.
All ships to attack formation, mission objectives to talk about Star Wars in movies, streaming, animation, books, themed experiences, and your art and inspiration from the galaxy far, far away. Today's flight plan includes a little bit of Star Wars news and, of course, getting to episode 4 of our catch-up on Star Wars Skeleton Crew. And for all of you out there and for all of you out there, all comm channels are open. Follow us on Blue Sky, Facebook, Instagram. Find us on Twitch and on YouTube. Like and subscribe and hit the bell icon so you know when we have new content. But first, I'll be your squad leader for today. I'm Andy Lowe. I'm aka the Chinese Pirate. I'm a director, storyteller, puppeteer, performer, and fight choreographer. On my wing is Tracy.
All hail the squad leader. I am Tracy, also known as Hot Nerd Girl. That was weird. Tracy, not Tracy. We don't want to be like he who shall not be named. All right. I'm Tracy, Hot Nerd Girl, and
First lady, you mean? You mean our first lady? You mean our first lady?
Or what, Elon Musk?
Yeah, our first lady.
Oh, you mean the real president? Yeah. I raise chickens. That's all I do with this. I have a dude back home, and that's all I do at this point. Let's be honest. All right.
I'm Lexi.
On my other wing is Lexi.
So I'm Lexi. I'm the Feral Geek. On Facebook and Instagram. That's the platforms I'm on, and I'm a mess.
So. And tired. We need to get through this, you guys.
Indeed, because we are just putting blood in the fleet. We're part of the Geekish Network. That's right here on YouTube and on Facebook and on Twitch. We'll check out all the other podcasts throughout the week. And S-Foils to attack position. We're going in. All right. So, April, Andor Season 2 is coming. And I cannot wait.
I thought we were talking about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles for a second. Go ahead. As you were.
April O'Neil. So there is some reporting, it's in post and all that. They're saying that Andor cost Disney $645 million for 2 seasons. That altogether is more than the total budget for Rise of Skywalker. And I'll tell you what, just from what I saw, I mean, season 1, honestly, an arc of season 1 looked so much better than well, I mean, I don't know. I guess there were a lot of really impressive shots in Rise of Skywalker.
Well, it's more hours too than Rise of Skywalker.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it was more screen time for sure.
Just like the Eye of Aldani is such a gorgeous sequence.
I was expecting that to be underwhelming. I was expecting it to be underwhelming when they described it, and then they did it, and I was like, no, full marks, A+, extra credit. Loved it.
And of course,
coming out.
That's also the episode where Nemec literally gets crushed by the weight of capitalism.
Much like we are now.
All having our Nemec moment.
Yes, indeed.
Is anything else coming out?
I mean, Andor season 2 is it for this year, I think. I mean, I don't think they've announced anything else. Hopefully they announce some other things either for the end of the year or for next year at Celebration. That's coming up as well. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, for now, I think this is it. I think the next thing on the docket is the Mandalorian and Grogu movie, right?
Is that just going to be on Disney Plus, or are they releasing that in theaters?
No, that's theaters. That's the big jump to the big screen for that with Sigourney Weaver, as we discovered last week.
With Sigourney Weaver, no, because I haven't read too much about production. I know that for like the later seasons of Mando, because Pedro was so busy that they had his body doubles mostly doing everything, and he rarely spent any time in the suit, and he mostly provided the voice. But I wonder how much they're going to have him in there for the feature.
I mean, I wonder how much FaceTime he's going to get too. He might.
I hope for more. I love me my Pedro.
I mean, maybe Bo-Katan would get through him a little bit, and he'll leave the way of or relax the way a bit.
Yeah, I mean, look, I mean, I just like I know I was begging for Jude Law in the skimpy flight suit and more FaceTime with Pedro. Forgive me, guys. My boyfriend's been out of town for weeks. I'm very hurt. But yeah,
I mean, let's be real. Even when our boyfriends are in town, we still want to see that.
I know, but I'm I'm on one tonight, and I know it all the time. So, well, we have yeah, we have. We're a mess. We're a mess.
It's been a long day.
It has been.
Well, with
I'm like exceptionally pale right now. I feel like I'm the same color as that lamp right now. I don't know what's wrong with me. I didn't look this other episodes, I don't think.
Well, let's go ahead and jump into episode 4 of Skeleton Crew then, and let's get through this. The episode 4 is called "Can't Say I Remember No Attin." Of course, is once again a quote from the dialogue.
The accent, pirate accent. You're the
Can't
Chinese
say I
pirate.
remember no Attin.
There you go. Thank you.
So okay, first impressions of this episode. This is where they end up finding a planet that they think might be at Attin. It ends up being at Akron.
Psych.
Gosh, there's some great Neil. I think this is like the episode where I fully just fell in love with Neil. Neil is just such a sweet, like, I mean, yeah, it was so many great moments with him as he like meets the daughter of the leader of the I'm forgetting the name of the groups, but
the non-Hattons.
Right.
I don't think they ever. We know the bad guys are Hattons, but I don't know if they ever said what their group was called. Yeah. They're just like the rebels.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And there's like,
oh no, it's is it like Troik or something like that, or Hatton's Troik?
Oh
yeah,
that sounds familiar.
The older best figure introduced himself. Oh no, Troik is the name of the girl. Shoot, okay.
No, her name is Hana.
Oh,
her name is Hana. I think they are the Troik.
Oh, they are the Troik. The
Hatton
are the unseen enemy.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So we do see, but yeah.
Right. A lot of really interesting things too with this, also letting this be a contrast to what we've seen at Attin, right? Because an interesting reuse of the same sets, but all like war torn
and overgrown, post-apocalyptic.
Yeah.
And the kids don't get to be kids.
Yeah.
It's the first time they run into kids outside of their own planet and have the concept that like
it's also like the moment where they get to kind of shake their sense of safety, right?
Oh, thought you were gonna say something else, but go on.
Well, I mean, in that
their trunks,
in that they're on this adventure, and the whole thing is like finally they're on this adventure. This is what Wim's been wanting his whole life, and then suddenly they are really kind of facing the actual consequence and the honestly, I mean, to me, the controversial thing, like this was another way of attacking some of the same themes that they covered in the Last Jedi, where it's we love to romanticize about these stories about thrilling heroics, but thrilling heroics at the end of the day are kind of the mythology, right? War is hell. People suffer, people die. There's real danger, and it's not about bravery, it's about fear and how well you face fear, right? And just a really kind of lovely thematic piece, contrasting Neil's sense of kindness, and then the other kids are all excited about, oh, I get to use a big gun, shoot the blaster, and then when it's like, now you have to shoot the blaster at people.
You're talking about the like getting to see a version of their world that is not as prosperous and sheltered. And one of the things I remember was that the school was turned into a military base.
Right. Which of course,
the headquarters, yeah.
I'll just call out now, becomes very important later, because now Neil knows that certain structures are actually guns, which will be important later.
It's important, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we're getting ahead of ourselves, but that was a great callback because I wasn't expecting that. And then when they got to the moment, like, oh, that's right. I love that. I love they paid that off.
Yeah. Yeah, this series was good at its little payoffs, which fed the larger story. So
I talked a lot. Your guys' impression, things that you loved about this.
I like that they used Smee as like with some memories resurfacing, so you get some more. They drop in some more knowledge about the world, the past, and what's really going on.
He's how we find out what planet we're actually on,
right?
Because at that point you don't know. Is this like a Planet of the Apes type thing where they've gone like into the future, or is this a planet that looks exactly the same, just post-apocalyptic?
And it's so I think it's really interesting because the implication of at Attin and at Akron is that it's in the same star system.
Right. Well,
yeah.
And of course, then the later reveal when we get to the navigation or the supervisor tower later in the episode, that they actually have records of all 9 of the core images, the jewels of the old Republic. Of course, all the coordinates are shot away.
No, only on Attin. The rest of them are there.
Oh, the rest of them are there. But I mean, I just thought that's an interesting thing of, okay, this is what they do with future seasons is they go seek out what happened to the other 7 planets, right? And this being kind of the total opposite of what happened at Attin, of they just dissolved into war. To the point that they never left planet and didn't get involved with the Galactic Civil War because they were involved in their own civil war. But like what could be the deal with any of the other jewels too?
Yeah. And then of course they've got warlords and child soldiers, and I think they did a good job of making it I don't want to say dark, but I think that they did a good job of making it bringing some gravitas to it without making it bleak,
right?
And as a delicate balance to strike. That was my favorite overarching
well, some of it too is because so much of they discover this planet and we're seeing it through the eyes of Neil, who is just like, why is it like this? You don't have to be like this, right? His interaction.
Why don't you just say you're sorry?
Yeah,
absolute cinnamon roll.
Well, and also the thing where he's like, well, what are you fighting over? It's like, well, I mean, I don't think anyone remembers, but we just hate them. They used to a specific plot point that they discover that the Hattons have stolen a what is it? A
herd of Eopies.
And of course, Eopies are a callback to animated the original Star Wars holiday special, right? Because isn't oh no, I'm thinking wrong. Where did we first see Eopies?
They're on Tatooine. We see them
on Tatooine.
So you see them on Tatooine, and they're an important part of the Obi-Wan novel, and then they have an Eopie in the Obi-Wan series.
Right. Yeah.
So somehow, and there was other. So if the Eopies are native to Tatooine, how did they get to this planet? Which we see a lot of creatures kind of on multiple planets, but there was also some things like different Empire helmets and things like that I was noticing in the background that I was like, how did they get this if they've been isolated for thousands of years? Which we know Attin has been, but not necessarily at Akron or the other planets. So,
I mean,
I hope they tie that together.
There's like horses everywhere, right? I'm trying to. They're not native.
I'm over here trying to Google search like the planet of origin of Eopies, and I search Eopie, and the first thing that comes up is Eopie Star Wars. The second thing that comes up is Eopie fart.
I thought for sure you were going to say porn.
Well, it's like the poop
The
report.
internet were born. The internet were born.
Oh, mine hunking me. Okay, we're done. Not EOP4, EOP Star Wars. Okay, keep going. I'm going to see if I can figure this out. Because the tism is making me try to find out where they are from. Native to Tatooine.
Like, are they agricultural? Do they eat them or do they ride them? I mean,
They're native to Tatooine, so that makes me say they are camels.
okay,
They are camels. They are ships of
they're
the desert.
mounted riding.
They're ships of the desert.
So they're like horses, and horses are now everywhere.
But because they're from Tatooine, that's why I'm saying camels, because it's a desert planet.
Sure. Oh yeah.
And they have that back.
I'm sure there's like some kind of milk and meat and riding. It's kind of a multifunctional. You said that they're vital to their survival, right? And it looked like they had 3 left, and there was a whole herd that came in at the end there. So,
interesting that Jod, of course, disappears, and manages to save the day by purchasing the herd from the Hattons using more of Wim's lunch money.
The fact that lunch money goes so far,
right?
That's what makes it sci-fi fantasy. Like, if I could show up somewhere and like my $5 bill was like worth 5,000, like, no, wait, I just need to move to Mexico.
But now the Hattons have more money for weapons.
Yeah, at Hatton.
I mean, who are they buying from? It's like the whole.
I'm telling you, they're getting stuff from somewhere.
Yeah, fair.
You did not see any Yopies on at Attin, first of all. And there's just way too many things that scream to me that they're having some kind of trade with other planets.
You know what? Then they might have had that once, because if they were set up like at Attin, it's safe to theorize that they also had a barrier, but the barrier probably came down in the war, and then they started, sourcing from outside. I would love to see, speaking of Star Wars creatures, if future series brought in the Orbach, which is like the woolly tusked horse.
I'm wondering if the original pirate that had the what's the ship called? Onyx.
Right. What
he's involved in all of this, because
I'm looking for. Hold on, I'm trying to look for the captain's actual name, because I know his character equivalent in Treasure Island / Treasure Planet.
Which, if you watch Black Sails, Captain Flynn is
Renaud.
Tack Rened. Here we go. So Tack Rened is out.
Oh yeah.
So we get information about Tack Rened, who is like the OG pirate captain, who, if we're going with our Treasure Island, Treasure Planet analogy, is Captain Flint, who has the treasure trove or knows where the treasure trove is. And then we were saying, who said there's a reference to something else as well, right? Rened? I remember that was a reference. Oh man, whatever. So that was
Rened. Rened is a reference to Richard Donner, who directed Goonies.
Oh gosh, it's Donner backwards. That's
Here we go. I remembered it because I was like, their Captain Flint, who buried who knows the location of the treasure, was an Easter egg for somebody who was involved in. Yeah. So thank you for
because Jod says Renard's ghost.
Yeah, Renard's good.
And I was like, I don't know.
And the interesting thing, and that's obviously very strategic, is that you never see Renard's face in his like holograms.
Which
it looks like he's wearing the same hat that one of the kids is wearing when they're dressed up. Oh wait, that's later. It's later. Sorry.
Totally was giving me One-Eyed Willie vibes, though, right?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, so we have Donner Rened and the location of at Attin. And
I almost wonder if Rened is perhaps the great and powerful Oz. If he's the one that had Smee destroy the location of Attin on the star map, perhaps he went to all the planets and destroyed the location of Attin.
Very interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
But how would he live? So he'd have to be an alien species that lives long enough to be able to do that. But I don't know. We have a force sensitive person in Judd. Perhaps Rennet is force sensitive as well, and has swallowed the Emperor's Kool-Aid and managed to extend his life.
Actually, okay, was it this episode or last episode where KB confronts Jod?
I don't remember. I haven't seen the ending either. So what I'm spouting you guys might be like, oh my God, she has no idea.
Okay, I'm forgetting where this lands in the timeline, but there was a scene that I really liked, where everyone's asleep. Yeah, no, wait, that's right. It was at the beginning of this episode. Everyone's asleep, and Jod is kind of looking around, and then he notices that KB is like spying on him or something like that, and he calls her out as she's not really sleeping, and she's like, questioning whether he's a Jedi or not, and then he uses the Force to turn out the lights or something like that.
But I really like KB a lot. I thought she was did such a good job of being expressive through when she had her Geordie eyepiece,
Geordie LaForge Jr.
Yeah.
Also, I will say, like, when I first watched this without getting to the end, I was really worried because I was worried that she wasn't going to get the same level of character development as the other kids. Because like this episode has a big moment for Fern when she has her mental breakdown and she questions herself as the leader.
Yeah, I almost
actually encourages her and says, "You know what? It's a good thing you're a leader because I would not have done this well. You did well by us, right?"
Yeah, she's like, I almost got us killed.
Who directed this episode? Actually, was this? I'm gonna scroll back up really quick. Talk amongst yourselves.
I'm kind of peeping some of the concept art. And
while you're looking that up, Andy, I'll just point out that we now know the names of 5 of the planets, 5 of the 9 planets, with at Attin, at Macron, at Aricia, at Rakoda, and at Aitu, I think it is. But all of those have references to various mythologies here on Earth.
Okay, I'm glad I looked this up because I thought there was something significant about this episode. So this was directed by the Daniels, who won the Oscar for Everything Everywhere All at Once.
That's right. Yeah.
This was great.
Everything at once, man. I slept so long on watching Everything Everywhere All at Once because when it came out, I just knew it was going to be one of those blink and you'll miss it movies. And I didn't have like the mental bandwidth for a blink and you'll miss it. And I didn't want to half-ass the watch. So I didn't end up watching it until I think like March or April of last year, when a friend of mine who's a travel writer got a promo trip to a super exclusive hot springs for 2. So we had a girls' weekend, and like the Wi-Fi in these cozy little cabins with 3 feet of snow outside. And I was like, now's the time, because I was relaxed and I didn't have to get up early, and you know what I mean? And so I was like, okay, now
it's time for some Raccoona Toonie.
So I watched that. I watched it there, and it was like I couldn't have picked it. I'm glad I waited because I was able to fully appreciate it. The Daniels knocked it out of the park on that one, and they did a great job on this episode too.
Also, I love like their probably most well-known credit before that was the turn down for what music video.
I don't know that one.
If you haven't seen it, look it up later. It's hysterical.
Who turns for what?
Turn down for what?
Turn down for what?
Oh, turn down for what?
Yeah.
Oh.
Turn down for what? Meow, meow. Yeah.
I know the song, but I've never seen the music video.
Check out the music video. It is ridiculous.
I'm gonna cue it up for when we're done here.
Thank you for
Okay, let's see here. And then what other things we got here? Okay, yeah. So now we have also after Fern gets her little pep talk, and then she realizes something that, oh yeah, droids only do what they're told, and she kind of figures it out that, okay, there's got to be a backdoor into SM-33's programming, and that
With her nanny droid. Yep.
and that's when it gets revealed that, of course, SM-33 is Renan's droid, and that he was given specific orders to not know about Attin, which is why he says the same exact phrase every time, and why his head does a little jiggle, and he glitches every time that happens. But of course, then we got that, and now because you asked about it, I have to kill you.
Rip you limb from limb.
Yeah.
But it was that's that, and now you get a really good example of why Tak Rennet was the best pirate in the galaxy, because he saw the override,
Right.
and he had
The thing was, he had all the other crew members who saw the coordinates in that room. He had Smee rip them limb from limb.
Yep.
Also, some nice little subterfuge in that we get a couple of very heroic moments from Jod, right? One where he basically ends up getting the kids out of the jam.
Sort of accidentally, well, not accidentally, but incidentally heroic.
Yeah, with the troik, and of course here where he saves the kids. Well, one, Neil has a little act of bravery where he distracts SM-33, and as he's bearing down on him, it gives Jod a chance to run up and, tap his off switch.
Yeah. See, and more Neil's got a good arc because he's never not a softie, but he learns how to, like you said, step up in the face of fear and do the thing.
Yeah.
Even though the smoke is clogging his trunk.
I know. Poor little asthmatic baby.
Oh, that's right. Okay, that's another thing I have to call out. Moments when they're all sleeping and you get the little toot in his snore.
Also, can we talk about the fact that this random guy shows up and is like, here's all your Eopies. What do you want? You want these skins? No, I want these kids. Okay. Like,
Yeah.
take the children, stranger. Yeah.
But of course, it adds more intrigue for the kids in terms of, do they trust him? Do they not trust him? Wim, of course, is like, see, look, he helped us. Yeah.
But the same guy that made children lead them into battle when they obviously did not have the skill set.
And then you've got KB and Fern being like, well, I guess the devil we know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty much where it ends, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Like we don't see them go back to the ship or anything. It just
No.
Yeah.
Kidnapper giving back the children to the stranger. Yeah. That's right.
Well, I'm like, well, that tracked. You were going to use them as child soldiers. Of course, you'll just borrow them off.
Yeah.
And he's probably like, you know what? These kids were kind of useless anyways. I'd rather have the Eopies.
That's what he says. He goes, are you sure you wouldn't rather have these awesome skins? Like,
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
all right. We're good.
That was great. So, I think that wraps it up. Here. Oh yeah, of course. And then the really important thing, of course, at the end of this arc is how Neil has affected the daughter of the chief of the Troiks, and how she has been shown that there is another way, that there is that there doesn't have to be endless war, and that maybe someday when she is leading the Troiks, that they can figure out peace. And
The kids are all right.
yeah, she gives Neil a little kiss, and it's like, oh.
I believe the children are our future.
But that wraps up this episode. So,
Yay!
episode 4. Next week we'll come back and get into episode 5. Come back for us every Monday as we get through all of this. Thanks for joining us here on the Geekish Network. Please follow the Geekish Network on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook, and subscribe to the channel. We will be releasing this, of course, every Monday. Check the schedules for all the other great shows throughout the week. Thanks on the flight deck to Rodney, and we, of course, are the Pod Squadron. Please check out our content on podsquadron.com. Like and subscribe. Follow us on Blue Sky, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. For podcast subscriptions, you can subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or your favorite podcast app. I am the Chinese Pirate at Chinese Pirate _ on all platforms.
I am Tracy, the hot nerd girl on all the things.
I'm Lexi, the feral geek on 2 of the things. I don't bother with the rest of the things.
The important things.
Important things.
The easiest things to use.
10 wings and all wings to return to base. Course laid in and prepare to make the jump to light speed on my mark. And remember, the truths we cling to depend on our own point of view. Only the Sith deal in absolutes. Good night.
Bye. I'm Mr. P. I'm